The Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our America People's Trade Treaty held its 21st Political Council meeting this Monday in a video conference format. President of Argentina, Alberto Fernandez, stressed that there is no more space for recessionary adjustments in the country's debt negotiations with the International Monetary Fund. Iraq received its first shipment of coronavirus vaccines in the early hours of Tuesday morning. From the headquarters of teleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm Gladys Quesada. The Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our America People's Trade Treaty held its 21st Political Council meeting this Monday in a video conference format.
We have seen how the Bolivarian Alliance has been activated in different areas. In the health field, of course, the first step was the creation of the vaccine bank. From Venezuela, we are making efforts to transport vaccines to the Caribbean. Soon, a significant number of vaccines will arrive in Dominica from China, but also Cuba, with all the solidarity and the rigor that characterizes Cuban medical science, is present there with its medical brigades, attending to COVID-19 patients with the medical protocols in all the countries of our alliance, saving lives.
And speaking during the 21st ALBA-TCP Political Council meeting this Monday, ALBA Bank President Raul Causi announced the creation of a humanitarian fund to fight the effects of COVID-19, assuring that the organization has the financial capacity to face the challenges in the region.
Firstly, the response that the bank has given during the pandemic, the creation of the humanitarian fund, in which it is stated that it is necessary to create a fund that would allow to fight the economic necessities of ALBA, to which the fund was created, the one we call the humanitarian fund of ALBA. In 2020, we created this, and it's a way to put at the disposal of the public and private sector the support they need of credit for the purchase of vaccines, especially by Caribbean countries. From another point of view, we have ALBA Health. The ALBA Bank has provided its technical support for the supply of vaccines, medicines, and equipment. ALBA has moved forward in the financing conditions with favorable conditions to facilitate the acquisition of vaccines. We also have the program ALBA Food, like the one before. It is given not only the necessary technical counseling, but also we have put at their disposal different resources, and that we are currently working with the corresponding countries. The Agriculture Minister, we had a meeting, it was a very productive one, and we established a financing fund that we are executing now. Lastly, we have the strengthening of the financing in transportation, which not only facilitates transportation within the region, but also will strengthen their commercial relations. Also, we have worked in the financial stability of different country members.
Addressing the 21st meeting of the Political Council of the Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our America People's Trade Treaty this Monday, Cuban Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez rejected the blockade, sanctions and other unilateral coercive measures imposed by the United States and other foreign powers against Venezuela, Nicaragua and Cuba. The minister also praised the coordination by the organizations to face the challenges of recent months.
Our work has been efficient, the coordination work has been efficient. The results in the different encounters of high authorities in agriculture, education, the virtual meeting of the Social Council proves the revitalization of ALBA, especially in this moment which is most needed to guarantee solidarity and cooperation.
Health authorities in several Brazilian states urge stronger restrictions against COVID-19 to try to reduce overcrowding in hospitals. In an open letter published on Monday, Brazil's National Council of Health Secretaries has noted that in the last 30 days, there have been an average of 1,000 COVID-19 fatalities per day, and both public and private care networks are collapsing under the strain. Authorities stress that the country is in its worst moment since the pandemic began and criticize the slow pace of the vaccination program while suggesting lockdowns in cities where not intensive care unit beds are available and overnight curfews in other areas. Last week was the deadliest week in the country since the start of the pandemic, with over 8,000 fatalities from the virus.
Brazil is facing its worst moment right now since the start of the pandemic. We have now been for more than 30 consecutive days with an average of more than 1,000 deaths per day. The economic issue is very serious. But in a moment of crisis like this one, we need a responsible leader, committed above all with people's lives, to preserve people's lives. And that is not the case with Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro.
And Ecuador's National Assembly has rejected a bill to privatize the National Central Bank, proposed by President Lenín Moreno, which is part of his agreements with the International Monetary Fund. After Moreno's government proposed the bill, several leftist organizations denounced the move as representing the privatization of a national entity and also a gesture of submission to the IMF. The presidential candidate for the Unity for Hope coalition, Andrés Araúz, has claimed that the bill was written in the United States and is one of the final moves by Lenín Moreno as president. Lenín is due to leave office in May. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres appealed for $3.85 billion this year to address Yemen's dire needs to prevent death by famine and starvation of millions. The call came during a virtual pledging conference this Monday, co-organized by Sweden and Switzerland.
Today, famine is bearing down on Yemen. The race is on if we want to prevent hunger and starvation from taking millions of lives. It is impossible to overstate the severity of the suffering in Yemen. More than 20 million Yemenis need humanitarian assistance and protection, with women and children among the hardest hit. Today...
We'll take a short break now. Follow us on Twitter at teleSUR English and Gladys teleSUR.
Innovation, science, the technological breakthrough, and its influence in society.
Viajeros del saber, el futuro está aquí.
Atomy. Monday, only on teleSUR.
为了保持身体健康，我冥想。
Para mantenerme saludable, yo corro.
To keep myself healthy, I study.
Για να διατηρηθώ υγιής, τρέφομαι σωστά.
Para mantenerme saludable, yo bailo.
Para mantenerme saludable, yo purifico mi espíritu a través del cuerpo. ¿Y tú?
Guide your body. Tuesdays, only on teleSUR. Pakistani journalist Tariq Ali analyzes the international media influence driven by the empire, acts as an analysis of political, economic and social life throughout Latin America through our stream and website in English, a critical space committed to truth to determine the conjuncture that moved the world today. The world today. Mondays on teleSUR.
Welcome back from the South. During a speech prior to the opening of the ordinary session of the Argentine Congress, President Alberto Fernandez stressed that there is no more space for recessionary adjustments in its debt negotiations with the International Monetary Fund, and noted that those responsible for the country's excessive debt will be brought to justice. Argentina is negotiating a new credit agreement with the IMF to replace the one signed in 2018 by then-President Mauricio Macri for about $57 billion, of which Argentina received only $44 billion, as Fernandez halted the last disbursements when he took office in December 2019.
There is no more space for recessionary adjustments. The program, to be agreed with the International Monetary Fund, will be sent to Congress to ensure sustainability and transparency. I have instructed the relevant authorities to formally initiate criminal proceedings to determine who were the perpetrators and participants in the greatest fraudulent administration and embezzlement in living memory.
And the Argentine President Alberto Fernandez also called for a comprehensive reform of the country's judiciary, arguing that it is politicized. The president presented a bill to reform the federal courts last year, which is still waiting to be debated in the lower house Chamber of Deputies.
The reform of the judiciary, in its broadest sense, is also an urgent demand of society. I hope that no one will see in my criticism of the judicial system any rancor or a desire to favor anyone. I speak as I am, a man who grew up in the world of law. We are living in times of judicialization of politics and politicization of justice, which end up damaging democracy and public trust because everything is upset.
The Supreme Electoral Court of El Salvador offered preliminary results of the parliamentary and municipal elections held on Sunday.
It is important to highlight the remarkable voter turnout of 51%, despite the pandemic-related difficulties and risks. This was a challenge for the Supreme Electoral Court to get the population to turn out to vote, and we at the court are pleased because we provided the population with the necessary biosecurity measures, and this was verified by each one of the members of the court, who also went to cast their votes, and we were able to witness how the security measures had been complied with.
The electoral official subsequently assured that efforts will continue to strengthen the Supreme Electoral Court.
To emphasize that the institution will continue to work on the path of transparency, to strengthen credibility and confidence, and to that end we suggest improving and developing the model of scrutiny and transmission used yesterday, to enhance it in future elections.
The President of the Supreme Electoral Court also acknowledged the work carried out by the international observers during Sunday's vote.
In addition, the observers from the Organization of American States, as well as the other international observers who have also offered their recommendations. All of this has helped to strengthen the electoral processes and to make the electoral procedures more transparent, to ensure that the population is satisfied with what has been done in the electoral court.
In a virtual summit to discuss immigration, U.S. President Joe Biden told his Mexican counterpart, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, that Mexico's success is crucial to the hemisphere and that he will view the southern neighbor as an equal. The meeting came amid reports of a new surge of undocumented asylum seekers attempting to enter the United States from Mexico and also its southern neighbors, as Biden eases Trump's tough anti-immigration regime. The summit was also set to address joint development efforts in impoverished southern Mexico and Central America, the source of most of the people traveling to the U.S. in search of a better life. Other issues addressed were the COVID-19 recovery and economic cooperation. The two countries share a 3,200-kilometer border with hundreds of thousands of asylum seekers trying to enter the United States each year. Armenia's Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan stated before thousands of rallying supporters this Monday that he is ready to hold early elections to bring the country out of the current political crisis.
If the Parliament agrees to the terms of an early election, we will accept early elections because we are sure that our people are able to freely express themselves and choose a legitimate government in Armenia.
We'll take a short break now, but we'll be right back, so don't go away.
acompañamos a los pueblos que resisten en cada una de sus luchas.
Somos esa ventana que se abre para visibilizarlos entre fronteras.
Thursdays, only on teleSUR.
A review of the world news that investigates, incites analysis and induces criticism, because every event has a context.
Pusimos el punto net.
Dot in the eye. Saturday, only on teleSUR.
Una travesía para descubrirnos. Buscamos conexiones perdidas.
No nos queda otra que luchar, porque no tenemos nada que perder.
Realmente es por todos.
Recorremos el mundo con Reportajes teleSUR.
Saturdays, only on teleSUR.
Welcome back. Iraq received its first shipment of coronavirus vaccines in the early hours of Tuesday morning. An Iraqi Air Force plane landed in Baghdad with 50,000 shots of the Sinopharm vaccine from China. The country is currently facing a second wave of the virus, with daily case total of more than 3,000 in the past week. Along with the Sinopharm shot, Iraq has also approved the Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines for use. Experts are concerned that the renewed rise in infections could be compounded by the Pope's historic visit to the country later this week, an event that is expected to draw large crowds.
This will not be the last batch. There will be other batches that will arrive from the People's Republic of China. As you know, Iraq has an agreement with COVAX to import 16 million doses and with Pfizer to get 1.5 million doses, and with Sinopharm Company 2 million. With God's help, will be received soon. Today,
Slovakia became the second European Union member state after Hungary to receive Russia's Sputnik V vaccine this Monday.
You can see behind me the first shipment of the 2 million Sputnik V vaccines we have ordered from Russia. I believe that by meeting the deadlines and promised supplies, Russia will prove that it is a stable partner we can rely on in these hard times. I see no problem with being vaccinated with any of the vaccines authorized in Slovakia, including the Sputnik V vaccine.
Uruguay became the last country in South America to begin its COVID-19 vaccination process on Monday. Teachers, military personnel and police are among the priority groups in the first stage. We have more details in the following report from our correspondent, Mateo Grille.
Since the early morning, dozens of Uruguayans traveled to the Antenna Arena, the modern stadium of the state-owned telephone company, to receive the first dose of vaccine against COVID-19, as the vaccination process was launched in the country. Uruguay was the last country in South America to begin this process, but vaccination is now finally underway.
It is a unique day, an important day in which we are already starting the vaccination of prioritized groups. It is a fact that vaccination is a reality in the country, in sufficient quantities, in the necessary quantities.
The groups prioritized by the Ministry of Health to receive the vaccine in this first stage were vaccinators, teachers, police, military personnel, and firefighters, almost 150,000 people who should go to vaccination centers in the coming days.
I didn't feel anything, just a little pinch. At the reception, the doctor asking you if you're well. Excellent, that's the truth, excellent.
The truth is that we were expecting it because it gives us peace of mind knowing that we are protected. One works in a different way, and above all, it protects the family.
As of Monday, only 30% of those eligible to be vaccinated had reserved their places. The authorities are confident that the doubts and fears will disappear and the vaccination process will run smoothly.
Often there are doubts, there are fears, because, well, everything new scares us. The vaccines are new and they've been developed thanks to the scientific level in the world, which has led us to obtain this vaccine in record time. We have the peace of mind of experiencing a calm day, where people who have come to get vaccinated have gone through the process without any difficulty.
New shipments of vaccines are expected to arrive in the country in the next few days, both from Sinovac and Pfizer. The groups prioritized for the next doses are healthcare workers, people living in residential homes and shelters, civil servants, the elderly, and patients with chronic diseases who are at risk.
Mateo Grille, TeleSUR, Montevideo, Uruguay.
Bolivian President Luis Arce launched mass vaccination against COVID-19 for people with underlying illnesses in La Paz this Monday. The move comes following the arrival of 500,000 doses of China's Sinopharm vaccine. In order to continue mass vaccination throughout the country, a further 2 million doses of Russia's Sputnik V vaccine are to arrive this month.
Of course, we are happy to resume vaccination. We had started by vaccinating our doctors, protecting those who are on the front line facing the pandemic. We have brought more vaccines to the country and they will continue to arrive. This month of March, we will receive more or less 100,000 more vaccine doses in 2 weeks. And until the end of March, we will have enough for our doctors, for our nurses, because 1.6 million 60 doses will be arriving.
Colombia became the first country in the Americas to receive a shipment of coronavirus vaccines from the United Nations-backed COVAX initiative this Monday. The arrival of 117,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine to Colombian capital Bogotá came a few days after the anniversary of the first case of COVID-19 found in the region. The Pan American Health Organization said it expects to increase vaccine access in the region through the COVAX efforts each month, which plans to bring about 280 million vaccine doses to the Americas and the Caribbean by the end of the year. However, the initiative formed to ensure fair access to vaccines by low and middle-income countries has been hampered by the severely limited global supply of doses and logistical problems. And India, which has set an ambitious target of vaccinating 300 million people by the end of June, has opened vaccines against COVID-19 to all over 60s and many persons over 45 with serious underlying illnesses.
When the Prime Minister is taking it, everybody's taking it. I am 75 years old and I should take it. It is our duty to take it and encourage others. If we say no, we won't take it, then nobody will take it and the disease will go on increasing. I thought I will become more free once I get it. Today, and after 28 days, one more dose. Maybe my movements will become more free for visiting people and all of that. I feel a little restricted at the moment without the vaccine. Everyone is saying vaccine is going to help us a lot, you know.
And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. For Telesur English, I'm Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.